Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Conscious Conversations with PSYCH-K facilitators from all around the world, literally all around the world. Today, we're joined by Sophia Vasiliou, and you are in Goa, India, right now.
That is correct.
Looks beautiful in the background.
Thank you. Yeah, it's really nice.
How are you today?
I'm wonderful, thank you. It's nice and early, and having a good chat about a subject that I love, so it's nice.
Yeah, that's what I really love. I love talking about PSYCH-K. I love doing these interview series because I get to meet amazing people like you and learn how it is that you're using PSYCH-K in your life. So, good segue to start on to how did PSYCH-K come to you and a little bit about your story.
So, PSYCH-K, I feel, is a bit of a culmination of a life's work of searching for answers and looking at alternative ways of seeing the world. And so, back in my late teens, early 20s, I was looking at holistic therapy and actually the Indian chakra system and just sort of looking at the energy body and how things sort of non-material affect physical matter. Um, and that progressed into crystal therapy and massage. But eventually it led me to Dr. Bruce Lipton, who a lot of people seem to come to PSYCH-K with his work. So the biology of belief, which is all about that shifting perceptions changes your physiology, and through that we can change our physical being and the entire way we see the world, and therefore how the world actually is for us. They say seeing is believing, but he kind of says believing is seeing, and that is what I found to be really true. And so, yeah, I found PSYCH-K in about 2014, but I ended up training in it in 2018, early 2018. And yeah, I never looked back. It's the best thing I ever did.
What is going on over there?
Oh, is there a bird in the background?
Yeah, he's going off.
Sorry.
Brilliant.
Yeah, they've been quiet all morning, and now here they are.
Perfect. Yeah, I love that. I love that. It really is. And that's something in our society that is true for a lot of people. I believe it when I see it. And we're really shifting that paradigm because I know certainly for myself, I don't see anything I don't believe it. I don't know where you reckon that even came from. I'll see it when I believe it. Scientific, or I believe it when I see it.
I don't know. I just think it was that worldview, that cultural perception that unless it's physically manifested in front of us, it's not true. Sort of like the germ theory even was seen as so outlandish, like the idea of like microscopic organisms affecting us. It was just like insane until they created microscopes and then they could actually see it. And so, yeah, maybe things like that as the science shifted, and that kind of became true. When we see it now, we can believe it and start to create theories. Now we're sort of learning so much more about the energy world through quantum physics. We realize there's so much we can't see that we have to believe in. Maybe that's where the cultural paradigm is now allowing itself to shift again.
Beautiful. I love being on the forefront of it, that's for sure.
Nice. Oh yeah, it's great.
Cool. Okay, so when did you do your first workshop? I know you mentioned that your partner did it first, when you were a previous partner.
Yes, so he did it in 2017, and I received loads of PSYCH-K for about 6 months. It's great, just having like continual access. And then, when I left Peru, I went and trained straight away with Kazi in Wales. and did my basic workshop in January 2018, my advanced the next weekend, and then pro like 2 or 3 weekends after that. It was super intense, but wonderful.
Yeah, big shifts, big changes, especially when you do the health and well-being. That's massive, that one.
Yeah, I just did that this January. It was so nice. Yeah, that was just a wonderful expansion of all these wonderful, wonderful concepts. And I guess having done PSYCH-K for a couple of years by that point, just really being able to pull loads of stuff together and just go deep and slightly weird, I guess, to some people. You know, it really is that stranding together.
Yeah, yeah. I love Duccio as well. He's an amazing teacher, an amazing example of it. I've said it many times, self-confessed, I have a crush on Duccio. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, he's just so full of joy and light, and he really understands how to convey some extremely serious and heavy and difficult concepts in such a fun way. It's really cool. Yeah, I had so much fun on that workshop.
Where did you do that one?
That was also in Wales, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Lovely. Sweet. So you work on the one with people. It's awesome. You get to travel the world. So you're actually facilitating and travel. I mean, we've been trying to do this interview for a couple of months now, and you've been in Peru, you've been all over India, you've been in London. Where else have you been while you the last couple of months?
The UAE as well. I was in Sharjah.
Yeah.
I was in Dublin. I think I was in London for a week or so.
Awesome. It's so cool. And you're just facilitating as you go.
Yeah, living the dream, as it were, and not just living through sort of, Instagram posts and saying, hey, buy this. I feel so lucky and privileged to be able to do something that actually enriches people's lives and sit on the beach in between.
Not bad at all. Somebody's gonna do it, and I'm glad it's you.
Yeah, I mean, it's just lovely, and that keeps me really grounded in some ways, because going to countries, especially like India, there's so much poverty and pain around, and there's so much that, I don't know, is absolutely crazy, and there's so much that's absolutely wonderful. Like the sense of community here is amazing, and the way people come together and just help each other, and are just so friendly. And there's sort of, you can see the things we've lost and the things that we've gained, and it's just really nice to be able to move around and yeah, and it gives me a lot of gratitude, which for me is like one of the number one healing tools in the world.
Beautiful. I love it. Do you attract a particular type of client? Is there somebody specifically like that, the avatar that they like to talk about in marketing? I find myself really hard to answer that question, because it's just like anybody with a mind. So, but do you a particular type of
Yeah, I have to be 7 foot and blue with a tail that plugs in. You said avatar.
Yeah, great movie.
I mean, I like to work with anyone who comes to me. I really think that it's an absolutely inclusive field. But in the same sentence, like, I do really enjoy people who have been doing some self-exploration for a little while and starting to really understand the deeper layers of, okay, things have to change inside in order to change outside. And I find that with that kind of understanding, we can really start to go deep. and and that's sort of for me where a lot of the miracles happen and the massive transformations. And yeah, but mainly my only criteria for a client is if they're willing to actually look at themselves and do the work. Like, I'm very strict about the idea that I don't fix anyone. That's not my job to 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 fix. I'm here to help people see the wonderful human and the wonderful potential that they are, and let that shine. And so I'm just a guide.
I love that aspect of PSYCH-K because it really does take the pressure off us. We can just hold that space and be the pure conduit in the mirror and just help people through it, but it really is empowering them to do it themselves. I share that with you. I make sure that they understand that I'm not doing anything for them. That the only person who's going to be the catalyst for their change is the individual. But I love that because it just takes the pressure off. We get to just be a beautiful participant, and it's such a nice experience to be involved in.
Yeah, it's such an honor to witness people making those shifts and transform, and just to be in a part of that process. It's a catalyst. You're there and you don't involved in the actual chemical reaction.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you have any success stories that you can share with us? Some of either personal or the clients, partners you've worked with, some people that have had some massive shifts in their life that, as we talked about before, a bit of story time. Give us a story there, Sophia.
Yeah, I guess for me, PSYCH-K success stories are really interesting because sometimes, the changes are so profound because it's literally rewiring your perception so that you see the world differently. Sometimes you completely forget the way you used to see the world, and so you haven't noticed a change. And yet everything's changed around you, and then you look back at a few months like, oh my gosh, I just there's no recognition of this old self because it's such a seamless transition into new self, and that's quite amazing. But for me, probably the most profound shift was actually super personal and a little bit traumatic. Came from a sexual abuse story, and it was quite limiting in certain aspects of my life. And yeah, it was one balance. Actually, just re-perceiving the traumatic aspect of that event, and that was the hardest balance I've ever done in my life. It's just sort of in the whole brain position, in one of the postures for a PSYCH-K balance, and just sort of curled up in fetal position on a bed, just crying, and just really shaking it out. And at one point it just got overwhelming and came out of it, wasn't done, went back in. But yeah, completely changed my life. Like within a day, like by the next day, I was absolutely fine, and yeah, life changed. And what's been really cool is being able to share that story with clients who have a similar background, and that's also been profoundly shifted for them. And that's such a gift, to de-traumatize something that's such a wonderful and fundamental aspect of being human, at least in my world. Being able to share in this another person, and making that feel wholesome again. Like, it's pretty wonderful feeling.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. I really honor your courage, and just take a moment to really let that settle, because there would be so many people that would be suffering in silence with something that has happened, because there's a lot of shame around that. And I can only, I mean, I'm a male, I don't have an idea, I can only imagine the fear that females would experience with just the thought of that happening. And to be free of that is just priceless. It's such an amazing thing to be able to cultivate for yourself. And I love with PSYCH-K that it's got those permission protocols, so that going through something so traumatic like that, we can take to the point that it's safe and appropriate, and that we can do that, and it's not, because I think sometimes perhaps something as traumatic as that, if we relive it, it's going to maybe even do things worse if we don't have the right parameters for healing within that framework. So having that safe and appropriate protocol, allowing the superconscious and the divine into that moment to help with the healing is amazing, an amazing part of PSYCH-K.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. You hit on all my favorite bits of PSYCH-K. Permissions protocol is, for me, wonderful. And I think the Health Wellbeing program in January just really cemented my understanding of, you know, we're working with every aspect of our natures. So the spiritual aspects, the physical aspect, and the emotional aspect, and really bringing like the body, mind, and soul into alignment. So that those three different horses are actually leading us in the same direction rather than pulling us all separately. You know, it's like just bringing it back to center. And as, yeah, that aspect of PSYCH-K for me is super important, because with my background of doing other kinds of healing work and shamanic work in the Amazon, sort of you can cross people's permissions threshold if you're not in absolute integrity when you do that kind of work. And yet PSYCH-K just doesn't allow that to happen, because if it's not safe and appropriate, you don't work, and that's it. You find a different pathway to resolve an issue, and for me that's wonderful.
Yeah, I was speaking with another facilitator, and she had somebody in her life who would facilitate clearings, they called them. I'm not sure what the modality was or anything, but she said she did something, and it like opened up a Pandora's box that she wasn't ready to go there, and it kind of threw everything into a spin for her for a while. Which I know, as a facilitator, if that happened to my partner, it would take my self-esteem would take a massive hit, because it's like, wow, I've just made this person's life momentarily worse. We don't have that at all with PSYCH-K. I love that. It's just like so safe, so respectful and appropriate, as the terms are, to work at that deep level, because we are playing with some pretty serious emotion, heavy, sticky emotion, and to be able to do that in such a light and fun, joyful way, and by the end of it, people are just smiling and they're happy, and it's just such a transformation in such a short space of time. We froze for
after a balance. Oh, now we're back.
Yep, there we go.
Yeah, it's just saying, I had a client a couple of weeks ago, and after one of the balances, where we'd kind of just, you know, hit that golden one, where it was the statement that's going to change your life kind of thing. You know, we both had goosebumps as soon as she said it initially. Like, okay. And when she came out of it, I was looking at her face. I was like, there's something really profound or something a little bit sinister happened. And she's like, I just grew angel wings and saw myself as an angelic being and enfolded in my own wings, and I knew I was entirely safe for the rest of my life. Like, sweet.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was someone who, you know, had an alcoholic father in the house, and, you know, was often just, you know, just in that constant fear of having to be small and be quiet and try and keep yourself not seen, because you don't quite know how the violent reaction is going to come out. And so, yeah, it was a massive issue, and affecting, you know, work relationships and sort of being in the boardroom with a lot of men and stuff. But yeah, just shrinking and feeling like needing to hide and completely unsafe in confrontation. And then, yeah, for her to experience that.
Nice. Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Thank you so much for sharing. That's awesome. Do you remember what the goal statement was?
I think I'm safe, even when in conflict with others, or I can keep myself safe.
It's just something so simple,
Something,
it's so profound, hey? It's
yeah,
often the simple ones are the most effective, aren't they? It's just like, okay,
yeah.
well, cool. Okay, so what's got on the cards for you this year? You're still just going to be traveling around and facilitating? Do you run any other programs or anything like that, or is it just one-on-one sessions? What's 2020 got in store for Awakened Potential and Sophia?
That's a big question. So I'm in India until mid-March. Then I'm home in the UK for a couple of weeks, and then I'm in South Africa. So yeah, a lot of traveling this year, a lot of moving, and generally one-to-one facilitation. But then I'm also the last few years I've been living in the Amazon in Peru, working with ayahuasca and plant medicines. And so towards the end of the year, I'm hoping to take a group to the Amazon to meet my shaman. And what's really cool about that side of things is I like to do an end-to-end process with people. So do some pre-counseling before we go into the ayahuasca journey, and get people completely prepared. Then go into the jungle with them, work with the shaman, and work with the indigenous ways. And then on the way out, work with integration and use PSYCH-K to actually help shift some of those massive patterns that the ayahuasca has shown you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because it's a wonderful tool to yeah, just reveal patterns and show you where you're stuck. But often it leaves people a little bit confused because they're like, okay, I see all my shiznit, but I don't know how to change it.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I find PSYCH-K is just so helpful to say, okay, you see this, let's just balance.
Yeah, that's really
It's a
cool.
nice biohack. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's generally a year of movement, and facilitating one-on-one, and just really helping people make big shifts. Like I also want to put together a coaching program, and just sort of, I think we spoke earlier about meeting people where they're at, and one of the aspects of PSYCH-K that I really love is the concept that the power is with the partner, and it's really about deeply coming from them, and holding that space for their wisdom to arise. But I find that some people aren't quite ready to have that full responsibility yet, and so an initial coaching session or counseling, and using other modalities just to clear some energetic debris and just clear some trauma sometimes and some stress in the system on an emotional level, just kind of can help clear out the cobwebs so they can see clearly enough to access their own power. And so yeah, I'm putting together a bit of a program that's sort of special kind of mix of everything that I do. It'll be sort of maybe 6 to 8 weeks long, where people can really just kind of, who want to have an alchemical transformation, can just do a really deep dive. So yeah, I'm excited to get that out hopefully by the summer.
Awesome. I'm excited to hear about that and follow your journey.
Thanks.
Cool. Okay, so your business name is Awakened Potential. For anybody who may be watching and would like to find you, the website is just awakenedpotential.com, is it?
.co.uk.
.co.uk. Sweet. I'll put that in the comments below in the description. And if people want to find you on social media, you're on Facebook?
Awaken Potential on Facebook. I have an Instagram, but I am also quite allergic to Instagram. So I don't really update it very much, but it is there. But yeah, mainly Facebook is where I post, generally just uplifting stuff. But my main place is my website. If you actually want to book a session or talk to me, that's the easiest place.
Yeah, awesome. Cool. And one last thing I like to do, I haven't prepared you for this, a little curveball. What's one piece of advice or a takeaway for people who are watching, something you apply in your life that really helps you? Is there one bit of advice that you could share, or an application that you do in your life? First thing that comes to mind.
Yeah, remember it's not to take yourself too seriously, not to take life too seriously. Something that both Jungle and PSYCH-K taught me a lot is there's a lot of humor out there, and yeah, just learning to laugh at yourself and realize, you know, I probably won't even know or remember this happened in a couple of years, so it's okay.
Yeah.
just try and like stay present and let it go, you know. And then, yeah, it's extremely helpful.
If I can share some anecdotal evidence of this, on
Yeah.
Friday, Valentine's Day, I had a few nice things planned for my girl Tegan, and we got out of bed, and I sniffed. I went like that, and my back just went bang and snapped, and I've never experienced so much pain in my back before. I can't believe it.
Oh wow.
Like that, but I was just laughing about it. It was just like, what do you do? I could either get really upset and be spewing about the day being ruined, and you know, I just got to watch movies all week. So. But how funny! Who would think you could put your back out just from breathing? Like.
That was going to be my other piece of advice. Just breathe. so you kind of trash that.
It was good. I've been chuckling to myself about the insanity of that situation all weekend. It's fun.
Mm-hmm. And then I guess you just ask, well, okay, what's the message?
Yeah.
What do I need to do?
I do need to look at some messages behind that and find them out. But awesome. Thank you so much for joining us, Sophia. It's been beautiful chatting with you. And I really look forward to watching your journey and allowing this relationship to continue to build.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much for inviting me on. It's been really lovely, and I love what you're doing. It's such a cool project. And yeah, thank you for doing this and taking the time out.
Wicked. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching and tuning in and following us on this journey. Alexi J. McDonald signing out from our Conscious Conversations interview series for today. We'll see you all on the next one. See you, Sophia.
Thanks. Bye.